Welcome to the Growth Mindset with Retrieval Practices. This workshop is for K through 12 teachers. My name is Sarah and I will be presenting this workshop today. The purpose of this workshop is to better help teachers understand the concept of growth mindset. By the end of this workshop, you, the teacher, will be able to go back to your school and begin using growth mindset and retrieval practices in your classroom. So let's begin. First, let's go over the big idea of this workshop. Our big idea is, how does growth mindset and retrieval practices help with student learning? The idea is simple. By employing growth mindset with retrieval practices, teachers will be able to improve student engagement, which in turn will improve attendance, lower suspension rates, and raise test scores. Let's first focus on understanding what growth mindset is. Before we look at growth mindset, we need to understand that there are two types of mindsets. We have the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. The fixed mindset is defined as the belief that intelligence is fixed. This means that one cannot really change in their learning. People with this type of mindset will learn topics thinking that they will not be able to prove themselves. The growth mindset is defined as the belief that intelligence can grow. When a person learns something, they are able to apply it and use what they have learned in that situation. This idea of growth mindset goes hand in hand with retrieval practices. What are retrieval practices? Well, retrieval practices are defined as a learning strategy that are used to get information out of the mind. Retrieval practices are designed to show the student what he or she does not know and what he or she still needs to learn. There are many different ways that a student can practice retrieval practices. In the next few slides, we will discuss the different strategies that will help students retrieve the information learned. When using retrieval practices, the idea is to self-quiz and see what one does not know. One of the best ways to help a student determine what they do not know is to use flashcards. The way flashcards can help determine what a student knows and does not know is by having the student create a group of flashcards and quizzing themselves and placing these flashcards in different groups. Ever so often, these groups should be mixed up so one can figure out if he or she truly knows the material. While retrieval practices with flashcards are ideal for self-starters, teachers need to have students showing what they are learning and they are engaged. The current trend in the K through 12 world is data. Teachers are encouraged to prove that their students are learning by providing as much data as possible. Retrieval practices can help with that through the use of other tools. Other tools that teachers can use are clickers, whiteboards, bell work, exit tickets, and post-its. By using these tools, the teacher will be able to have students instantly recall the information that they are learning. In order to understand that students are learning, teachers need to plan out what questions students are to be asked. This does not mean more work for the teachers, but rather teachers use multiple choice and short responses that they have already planned to use to check student learning. These questions do not need to be graded and should be low stakes. In using low-stake questioning, teachers need to give feedback to the students. Feedback does not need to be written feedback. It could be as simple as posting students' results and having a discussion. By giving feedback, students are able to understand what they are learning and what they need to work on. After a teacher has started in using retrieval practices, it would be a good idea to start teaching the students about growth mindset. Students who start to believe that their intelligence is in their control will start to apply themselves while learning. Students will be able to see how learning will benefit them. But how does a teacher teach a growth mindset? Teachers can teach growth mindsets in many different ways. For older students, it could be articles and research about intelligence paired with sayings that can help students remember when things in particular learning, gets tough. For younger students, it could be teaching them about learning and how learning can change things for them. Once a teacher has taught growth mindset, using retrieval practices will help encourage a continuation of growth mindset in the classroom. Let's see how. In a recent article, Carol Detwick discusses this idea of a false growth mindset, in which teachers are saying that they have an open mind and are teaching an open mind to their students. However, in essence, what these teachers are doing is focusing on the effort of students and reacting to students' mistakes as if they are hurtful to the learning process. Yet, when a teacher uses retrieval practice with a growth mindset, the teacher is able to point out the mistakes and feedback and show that it's okay the students are making mistakes because they will learn from these mistakes and be able to figure out how to solve the problem another way. One way a teacher might ensure both retrieval practices and a growth mindset is being met would be through possible sayings. Let's take a look at these sayings. When a teacher when teaching growth mindset, it's important to give students ideas as to what to do when things get tough. Since these ideas are new to students and students might struggle with the idea that they can control their learning, having sayings can help. These possible sayings could be like FAIL, which stands for first attempt in learning. Or instead of thinking that a subject is hard, really hard, the students could say to themselves, this might take some time and effort, but I will learn this. When giving feedback after a retrieval practice, such as a low stake quiz, the teacher could say, the point was not to get it right away, but to grow your understanding step by step. What is your next step? Teachers can first implement retrieval practices by having bell work or morning work to go with over information that was taught in previous classes. Then have exit tickets such as a post-it where the students write down 3 things that they have learned that day. Afterwards, give feedback to the students and ask them what their next step would be. I have done something similar in my own classroom. When I did this in my classroom, I had students write down a paragraph of what they learned. Then I read back the responses that aligned with the learning objectives for the day and gave verbal feedback through a class discussion about the results. Students were immediately able to see what they needed to work on and what they had understood. It did require a lot of thinking on my students' part, and many of them at first were uncomfortable. However, they did get the hang of it. This is retrieval practice applied. Now, to make the learning more effective, I would ask the students what their next steps would be if they got their information wrong or if they got the information correct. That would be the growth mindset component. When students are engaged in their learning, they are more likely to learn. When they are learning, they are able to apply what they know to other situations. This is the idea of true learning. This is what a teacher wants for students to be able to do. And having a growth mindset while practicing retrieval methods is what will get students into true learning. It is up to you as the teacher to guide students in the concept of growth mindset. It is also up to you as the teacher to be able to use retrieval practices so the students know what retrieval practices look like and they will be able to use them for themselves. Here are the references that I used in my presentation. I would like to thank you for viewing my presentation, and if you have any questions or comments about my presentation, you may contact me through the email address located on my website where you found this presentation. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.